Okay, hello, welcome to From the Bridge, a regular podcast here from Educase Games, talking about Fractured Space. Last week we were calling it the pilot episode, so I guess this is episode 0.1.
Isn't this the Gunner episode?
Co-pilot. Gunner episode could work. Co-pilot, maybe. I think I like Gunner. We'll go Gunner. This is the Gunner. How are we all doing today, guys? We're fired up.
Good. All right,
cool.
All right, it's Monday.
Yeah, it's a pretty Monday feeling in here.
I got up at 4:10, so probably the
hardcore.
Shittier mood than everyone else.
Well, yeah, I'm feeling pretty chippy actually, so I'm all right, which is unusual. Those of you listened last week, got a different lineup this week. I'm Sam Faulkner, aka Professor Chaos, community manager as usual. Joining me this week, I've got Alex, aka Ginger Gladiator, lead artist. And I've got Gilby, a.k.a. Stanif, from the... you probably met him on the forums. He's probably answered a million of your questions. Lead gameplay... in and one, and from the Q&A the other week. So and joining us this week, we've got the father of the equaliser from design, Willus.
Hello.
So guys, we've got a lot to talk about. We've had a new patch has just come out about a week ago now. Mm-hmm. We've all been getting stuck into some pretty good games, I think. I think this thing's really taken shape now since the new additions and everything. Been a good reaction, right?
I'm really excited about this new patch. It's really cool. These two new ships seem to have filled some gaps in our roster, and definitely
I agree.
made
They're
games
definitely mixed up a little bit more, because before there was sort of a very limited selection of ships. And obviously it's 5v5 as well, so actually you see most of them in every game. Whereas now it's a bit more. It's not as obvious which ships you have to take in for any given team. Well, the team makeups are now a bit more interesting.
And we've got some ships that kind of not directly counter, but I feel like the Brawler it's got a fighting. Well, it just rips apart flagships at point blank range. And previously we didn't really have that ship to threaten the flagships desperately at close range or anything.
They very much have sort of like almost like equivalent DPS and stuff. You can sort of go either way, and that's very interesting because no other ship was able to do that at that sort of range before.
And we've also got the nice kind of. I feel like the equalizer is working really well as this kind of like speedy little annoying scout ship.
Annoying's a very good word.
That keeps people just out of range and kites them around, and so I feel like it's in a nice place at the moment. It doesn't feel desperately overpowered, and if you corner it, it's so screwed. But yeah, it's nice to have that side of the gameplay as well.
I took an absolute hammer in playing as the equaliser in the stream last week. I was getting people shouting at me in the Twitch stream, "What the hell are you doing? Kite!" All I was doing was just flying straight down the lane because I was just trying to sort of show it off a little bit for the stream, obviously.
That's not how you show it off.
I know, I'm sort of flying there showing off. We're done with sort of panning the camera around it a little bit, showing off this lovely new ship and just getting shot down in about 10 seconds. It's pretty much what I usually do.
I fell into the same trap because I used to play Enforcer a lot, which seems to be my favourite ship. And I generally just fly straight down the lane and just get up in everyone's faces. But playing as the equaliser, I just got destroyed over and over again. And then it wasn't until I kind of worked out that it was a completely different playing style. And I am just high in the map the whole time now, and then just really pissing off flagships, which is great,
It's out there. Really.
Do you guys think it's something that sort of struck me about it is we've got two new ships in there. They're both they're sort of very unique in the way you play them within the game, and not only does that affect how people play when playing as those, but it kind of changes the roles of the other ships already in the game as well, I find.
Absolutely. I think the Assassin has been affected by the Brawler. The Assassin's got a lot more to think about now.
Basically he really wants to essentially kite a Brawler in some form. He doesn't want to get too close to him, whereas before he just wanted to hug every ship he came across, really, because there was no reason not to.
But I think the Brawler also kind of works as another good buddy ship for the Corvette, for example. The Corvette, we've recently buffed its healing beam, so it now heals sort of percentage health, so it's really, really strong when you're healing something like a flagship. And the Corvette really needs a big, tanky buddy to hang around with, and a Brawler is great as a buddy for the Corvette. So it's nice. We're adding new ships is kind of making the Corvette more viable in more team competitions as well. It's
definitely.
Yeah.
I found this morning that we were just doing an internal playtest, and we had up one lane. It was me, Volks in a Corvette. I was flying a Hunter, which I've fallen in love with a little bit lately. The Hunter, with Marburg in the flagship. And none of us would probably claim to be the best players at the game in the studio, but we formed a really effective little unit there, and it really felt like it was the synergy between the three ships that was doing it. So we had Marburg and his flagship pushing up the middle of the lane, drawing fire with Volks there supporting him and healing him. I was able to use my quick blink to completely outflanked Samikins. It was brilliant. I jumped up right behind him and absolutely took him apart with my heavy cannons. It was one of the most rewarding moments we've had so far, and it all felt it was because those ships just complemented each other. Yeah, and it kind of. I guess it's like any multiplayer game, right? The more content you've got, the more combinations and the more variables.
Actually, I must say though, one of my favourite things in the new patch is the explosion damage.
Yeah, that's great.
Like it doesn't often like finish you off, but it's so satisfying. Like the sound is satisfying, and the one time I did take someone out with it, I think I was in a brawler against a flagship. I had that, sort of equivalent DPS.
Yeah,
he actually took me out annoyingly. Like I lost that fight, but then my explosion just killed him straight afterwards.
It's ace.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, it's all just every little detail makes things more immersive, right? That's, I guess.
I think the things I'm really liking about the new ships, and something I'd like to just as in terms of a philosophy of the abilities we're adding to ships is make sure that every ship we add has some ability that it can use that really complements team play.
Yeah.
The more team oriented abilities we give people, the more encouragement we give people to play as a team. Hopefully, the more naturally teamwork will happen. But I mean, stuff like the boost gate and also the brawlers. What's it called? The harpoon. The brawler can effectively use that in a very selfish way, but it's also such a powerful team play ability as well. That I think the more kind of complementary abilities we can give ships that kind of buff their teammates, the better. I think.
I think it's also a lot about having abilities that can be used in multiple ways as well. That makes it more interesting and makes it more team oriented as well.
Yeah, I mean the idea behind the boost gate was something that's really useful for yourself, but you can also use it to help out your team as well. And I think it works really well like that.
I was trying to throw a boost gate in front of a flagship the other day, but you steered around it.
I just keep on just misjudging how far away it deploys.
Oh yeah, that as well.
It's going to take a bit of getting used to, but. So
these two new ships, as I say just now, they're unique in the way they play and everything. I think they're also quite distinctive looking in the hangar. So Alex, obviously, as lead artist, you've probably got some input on this. But like when it comes to especially like the brawler, that's an unusual shaped ship. It kind of when I first saw it, I said it looks sort of almost like an assault rifle in space. It's this big chunky monster. Could you tell us a bit about
It's kind of a play on the Hunter, really. We got Ben Last from Character to design that one, and I guess the vision was to just make something that would offset the Hunter slightly, with slightly different abilities, but they still need to have a blink drive. So we just kind of took the silhouette from a Hunter and just rounded it off, got the kind of curves in that we've already got in the USR ships, and then Hans just kind of went to town with the materials, really, just breaking it up a lot. There's very few plain surfaces on it at the moment, I think.
Definitely.
Which we may need to work in for future decals, but generally it's fairly successful, I think.
It's like the chance to get something chunky and mean looking into the USR line, isn't it? 'Cause I think the USR stuff all looks quite. It's got that.
Everything's very cylindrical, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got that sort of science aesthetic, right?
Yeah.
And then that brawler just looks like something that it
It's
just
very
looks
imposing,
solid. Yeah, it is imposing, absolutely. I always think of the sort of brawlers when it's coming at you. It's got that sort of a fairly narrow profile, and as soon as it starts to turn its broadside on you, it's absolutely, it's got that huge sort of armoured shell up the sides. It's a bit of a beast, I think.
Yeah, so it's a really nice ship.
I love the look of the equaliser as well. I mean, I love everything in the TDS line. I think that's.
To be honest, that's my favourite looking ship at the moment.
Yeah.
Until we get the TDS flagship coming in.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit. It's not as elegant.
Right.
As the equaliser and the Corvette.
It's interesting because I don't like playing the Corvette much, but I think aesthetically it's probably one of my favourite ones.
Yeah. Which is a shame because I really like the Corvette. I guess it is just a support ship, isn't it? If you're just flying around healing someone. But I think a lot of the time you need to kind of partner up with a flagship, otherwise you kind of don't really feel like you're doing a great deal.
I love that TDS design aesthetic though. It's like that whole. It looks military. I think when they get some hard hitting attack ships, that'll. I'd love to see what the guys can do with that design sort of philosophy.
Something to do with the materials in game as well. They just seem to come out really nice in the level and in the engine and stuff. Like you got those sort of bronzy, coppery bits on the Corvette. Like the contrast really well with the sort of more silvery exterior and stuff.
So they got a lot of work to do at the moment to make them pop because the lighting's a mess in the current build. So our hot fix should go in this week, which will kind of change it a bit.
Lighting needs to be rebuilt.
Knocked the ambient up a lot. which was a fix for something else, but it was a quick fix. It was a bit of a kind of a check-in and run on a Friday, which ended up going into the build. So I'm a bit ashamed that it's quite ambient at the moment. And a lot of people have commented, but it's not. It wasn't. It's not like it went in intentionally.
Sure. Because like visually, the whole. I mean, it's not just visually; it's from a design perspective as well. But like to look at this game. I feel like this update has been a big leap because obviously we've got more asteroids populating the level now, which from a level design perspective, obviously,
I mean,
things up. Yeah.
I think the level you're going to see the level evolve a hell of a lot in the coming months as we kind of get more kind of critical features into the game, as we kind of get the new stations in and the new gameplay mechanics with the turrets and all that kind of stuff.
Teasing about that new station thing last week when we were.
Yeah, we promised a video a long time ago. We did record some footage. Didn't come out desperately well because we had massive performance issues with that setup. So that's what we're working on, kind of solving right now.
However, if you go onto the Unreal sizzle reel and just watch the second segment we've got in it, I think it's actually got your base in it.
Oh, is it?
Really?
Oh, really?
Oh, teaser.
Yeah.
There we go.
So anyone who would have seen it may have picked it up, but I don't think anyone's seen it.
Cool.
It's like 2 minutes 40 or something for just a second, and it's on the screen.
The plan is this week we're going to start testing the new map.
Cool.
So all goes well. We'll get some cool footage from that, and we can just put out some teaser footage.
Yeah, sweet.
We're going to have a load of problems to fix with it. A lot of kind of performance side stuff, which Gilby's going to have to look at some point fairly soon.
Yeah.
And then we've got to help deal with how we're handling like the balance of all the ships at the moment with our kind of the existing live version. We're giving a lot of stuff on level up across the board for all the ships that we're probably going to have to rethink a bit once we introduce these new base defences. So it's quite a big balance pass that's coming. It's not just a matter of whacking in new stations. Done.
Yeah,
it's
a lot of testing involved.
There's going to be a lot of stuff needs to change hand in hand with this to make it work.
You can always tell how much things have changed, by the amount of testing that's going on. You can just see the QA guys slump more and more over the day. So with the new stations, so Alex, I think you've been working on the look of them, haven't you?
At the moment they're kind of on hold, and they have been until Will gets everything sorted out, because we don't want to kind of waste any art production time.
Sure.
There's only so many of us working on the game in general anyway. We've got Sean in the States, and there's me. I'm making ships. I make most of the Zarek stuff. Sean does most of the Titan stuff. Hans does the USR, and then Matt pretty much primarily at the moment working on effects.
Yeah.
And Tim's just downstairs concepting a lot at the moment. So it's kind of difficult to spread your time out, especially on the environment stuff, and that's what's been killing me the most. We can get all these nice ships in, but the environments just kind of look like arse at the moment.
Right.
That's a technical art term.
Just lagging behind a little bit because we haven't nailed the gameplay yet.
But then it's a waste of time really updating anything that seems we're going to change the levels, because we're going to probably break into multiple sectors with multiple level files anyway, so we're going to have to rebuild everything. Okay. So it's going to be a case of just burn it all to the ground and rebuild it. So we've did a few tests and whatnot, like skyboxes, and we've got a few different versions of skyboxes that we haven't even played.
Seeing your nebulas.
Yeah, nebulas and all sorts. We've just done some assets, and we've got some of the asteroids kind of working in, but so we're not happy with anything at the moment. It's all going to be progressively better.
That's the soundbite. That's the tagline for the game.
Yeah.
We're not happy with anything.
We're not happy with anything. It's all pretty cool, to a degree.
I don't know. From my point of view, though, it's pretty cool having less direct art involvement earlier, because it gives me more freedom to experiment and get stuff playing better.
Guess you don't want the tail to make the dog sort of thing, like one leads the other.
It's always been a problem if you get art involvement too soon, and if you get artists' time assigned to something too soon, then it kind of ties your hands with regards to how you iterate on it in the future. Because once you've spent a month of an artist's time building something, you don't have the freedom to change it very much.
That makes sense.
So I prefer the working process of design. Just build what they need to build in the early stages to get it. Yeah. I mean, I'm going way further than I should be, I guess, in terms of trying to make things look better. Just because I'm very conscious of the fact we're not going to have a great deal of art time to dedicate to stuff in the early days. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of trying to just focus on the functionality whilst yeah, I'm probably spending too much time building girders and things like that. But yeah, it's going to be out in the public eye for a little while before the artists get a chance to pretty things up. So.
Saw that image flying around the forums the other day of the cloud layer of a gas giant. Someone put it up there. Said, "When are we going to get this?"
Is that the red one? By Seraphine posted.
Oh,
Yeah, that was
so
stunning.
sweet.
I forwarded that over to Alex and said, "Gamma."
It looks pretty sweet. That would be cool. There was like some amazing images in there. Yeah.
There's a few. I've been watching a lot of space programs. That's pretty much all I've watched for the last 2 months. Just trying to understand how things are formed, really, just so we don't make any mistakes, because I think it's the worst thing we could do at this point. And there was a photograph taken of a sun with a gas giant close to it, and it strayed too close, and it's got caught in. Basically, it's just stripping this entire gas giant into the sun, and you've got this spiral of gas running off to the planet. It looks amazing.
You've got to forward that to me. I've got to see that.
Yeah, so that's what I've been playing with for a while in my head, is that we'd have the kind of gas facility which is going to look completely different to the gas facility we've got at the moment, on top of or above the gas giant.
We were actually
circling the sun.
We were talking on TeamSpeak the other day it was last Thursday in the community playtest. We were chatting on TeamSpeak about the image that I forwarded over to you the other week about for what I kind of want to. I see the gas facility becoming kind of like the big robot Eye of Sauron in the centre of the area.
It's pretty intimidating, to be honest.
As people jump in, it'll kind of rotate and focus on a player, and maybe it'll massively debuff that player while it's focusing on them, and it'll have various defences around it, and you'll have to kind of take it down to release the buff. But we kind of want to turn it into more of a kind of a boss fight rather than the capture setup we've got for the home bases and the forward stations, and the gas facility right now is a temporary thing, and we're going to turn those all into kind of sort of mini boss fights with stuff to blow up, cores to destroy. In the Gamma, you'll sort of take this thing out and it'll give you the buff. With the forward stations, you have an element you have to take out to open up jump routes, and the home base, you'll have like a central core to the home base that you'll have to reveal and destroy to win the game. So yeah, I think the new gas facility, I really want to. The way I pitched it to Too Many Blows to the Head was big robot Eye of Sauron, and he seems to quite like that idea.
That sounds absolutely perfect. I think biggest sort of news that's happened in the last couple of weeks was our Devs versus Vets match, which Gilby here is a veteran of that. I can see him here. He's still got that sort of middle distance stare. He's seen some things, man.
No, yeah,
it was.
We had a lot of fun actually. That was really, really cool.
It was great atmosphere in here, wasn't it? I was sort of pacing up and down, going crazy, just trying to get the thing working. But we were.
We had some technical difficulties.
So
with the streaming and stuff.
A few gremlins crept in. I've got a cool new toy that I keep meaning me and Jam are supposed to be testing out. Haven't got around to it yet, but a 5-way mixer to sort of stream.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, if I can get it working, that'd be really cool. Big if.
But you've got a new fibre optic connection?
Not yet, no. We're kind of waiting.
That's what we need.
Yeah, once that's in.
I thought they dug up our car park for a week to give us.
Yeah, I don't think it's in place yet. I think
it doesn't. Yeah, the technical side of it's in place yet.
But we should all get better at the game as well.
Yeah.
When the fibre optic connection goes in, because currently we do the net tests on a Thursday, and we're streaming, and we're all playing, and our connection's just a 50 meg connection, I think. So
it's just it's the usual. Fibre connection, like Infinity or whatever it is.
So if we ever lose, that's probably why.
That's it. There we go. But that was because obviously that game was awesome. We had 2 games where I think it's fair to say they sort of pretty much steamrolled. The best did really impress me.
And then there was a third where they let us win.
That third game I was so excited. I was walking up and down, and I was sort of. By the end of it, it was like we won the World Cup or something.
Close, yeah. It
was brilliant when Samikins just got that last little chunk of capture off, and the sort of lone disruptor managed to find his way into their base.
Yeah. I mean, that was a very interesting game because, I think early on it did look like it could have been going in their favour. There are 2 flagships with a disruptor pairing getting in a bit of trouble. But I think it was just like shortly before the end of the game, they just made a slight mistake on the bases, not capturing it, so leaving it open. Then we got Gamma and jumped there and. Yeah, it's all very, very hectic as well.
They've already, the vets have already been in touch for a rematch, so I'm trying to arrange that. We'll be doing that again. We'll be streaming it again.
Cool.
I think something for me, as from the community side of things, it's quite exciting. It kind of really showed me something that I hadn't realised before, and that's like the competitive potential of our game. I think we spoke about this, didn't we, Will? About that was really exciting to watch, and it showed off the game in full flow, with two teams communicating on strategies and working together. And you watch back. We had again Gremlins, so wasn't able to put an in-house video up, but the user Rainbow Dars put one up. All from his perspective of that third match. I think he's put all three up. Actually.
I think I watched the third match. Actually.
Yeah, I watched the third match. We didn't watch the first two.
Yeah,
but it really shows off the game in its best light. I think that was, I would say, the best advert we've had so far for the game, and I'm quite excited.
It's because it actually shows the teamwork and the strategy and stuff. Like occasionally when you go on just a public server, people are sort of playing on their own, like often doing like games of Team Fortress 2 or whatever.
Certainly early on in the game's lifespan as well, right? So
exactly. While people are still learning it.
I think one of the big problems we've got right now is the fact that we have a fairly complex game mode, and we're not really explaining it very well to our players right now.
Well, that's another problem entirely. Absolutely.
Me and Jamin are working on a new tutorial video.
I think it's kind of exacerbating the problem on these public servers, though. But I think it's something that will get better as we kind of solidify our game mode. It's one of those things that do you put out a fully fledged tutorial while you're still iterating on the game mode? Well, you need to keep the tutorial up.
It's a combination of things as well. Even simple things like matchmaking, for example. If you have matchmaking, you sort of feel like you're part of this team that wants to win. And at the end of the game, you're still together in a lobby or whatever. Whereas currently, it's like drop-in, drop-out servers, like any other FPS game. And in FPS games like that, when you drop into a server, you're normally just playing lone wolf on your own. You don't really care about the other team. Obviously, not everybody plays like that, but some people might do. As we get the game mode nailed down a bit more and get matchmaking and stuff in later on, then I think team play will become more of a focus.
I think one of the things that I'm noticing when I'm playing on public servers is that the teams that are cooperating and working together and moving as groups and engaging people two or three versus one if they can, and basically playing as a team, generally seem to be a lot more successful. And
definitely.
It's comforting because that's totally what we intended. We want it to be a very, very much team game.
The other one interesting thing I notice is following on from that is that occasionally the losing team will actually have the person who's done the best, like kills wise and everything. Like you often get like the most typical scenario here is you got two snipers on one team, which is always a bad thing to begin with from a teammate point of view. They'll rack up loads of kills, like 20 odd kills or something, yet they'll still lose because they can't move forward and catch anything. And that's a prime example of team play is important in this game and capturing the objectives and everything, not just the kills.
Well, you mentioned the snipers specifically. I've seen snipers who do play for the caps and they do play.
Oh yeah, of course,
sort of mid to close range if they need to. And
it's a stereotype for you.
And I think the sniper can be very effective at playing a more team-oriented role as well. It's not the most immediately obvious thing you should be doing with it.
It's also the harder one. Like you get the same problem actually in Team Fortress 2 as well when you get too many snipers on one team. So they're just not that effective at pushing forwards and capturing the objectives and stuff because that's not really their primary role.
Yeah.
So when too many people pick that class, chances are they probably just want to sit back and camp as well because that's just what they enjoy doing.
It's a very selfish role.
Yeah, exactly. And therefore, as a result, the entire team suffers. Even if they're there racking up dozens of kills, it doesn't matter basically.
So you definitely notice the best snipers in our game aren't the ones that just hop into the end of a lane, sit there and rack it up. They'll jump in, they'll gradually move a little bit forward, support their unit, take those first.
They'll just find tactical positions off the side or anywhere basically, and support their teammates.
I think they're very handy for capturing gas as well. You jump into gas
massively
from like your forward base and just take a few people out.
Definitely, because that's the sort of scenario where kills really are the boss around there, aren't they?
You can stay out of everyone's way and then just come back again when you need to.
Oh, it's so exciting to see all these strategies, like, as I say, coming together. We've got new ships in. I want to make this thing a competitive game, and it's, as the player base grows and as we get matchmaking in and things like that, I'm certainly going to be trying to arrange tournaments, and I think the potential's there for this to be a lot.
Yeah, I must admit, tournament stuff aside, obviously, if they happen, but from the game design point of view, making the game fair and competitive and everything has always been like our main aim, basically. We want it to be a very competitive game because that's what people like. They like a well-balanced competitive game to play just on public servers or whatever, and Yeah, and then it encourages them to get better at the game as well if they know that that's
Definitely.
I think we're going. I think this latest patch that we released on Monday, we definitely made a mistake in the nerf on the frigate. The frigate is in a really bad place right now.
Yeah,
and the hotfix is going to solve that.
Went too far.
It's we halved the duration of its shield, and as a result, the intention. I was pushing for that change. But I wasn't pushing for just halving the duration of the shield. I was also pushing for reducing the cooldown as well, to make it more of a reactive ability. So you'd want to use it more to block specific attacks than just there's a dude, press my shield, he can't attack me in the next 20 seconds. I'm not a big fan of the idea of just having an impenetrable wall for the duration of a fight. And
it's quite binary.
I really like the idea of bringing up the shield to block that missile salvo or block that sniper shot is coming in, but just to be able to have
something you have to time right and
I
mean, obviously that could end up being just a different ability in general, but I definitely see your point. I agree with you. I prefer to have abilities
I don't know. I've been thinking about it a little more, and I kind of want to test the waters a little more. I feel like putting the duration of the shield back up will bring the frigate back into a good place for the time being, but I'm not desperately happy.
Yeah, it'll bring it to a good place, competitively against the other ships, but not necessarily where we want it to be gameplay-wise.
I think my problem with it is 1 versus 1 against a frigate is incredibly frustrating because you have certainly late game, when it has such a long duration and such a short cooldown, you have very, very small windows which you can actually deal damage to the frigate. But then again, if you're flanking it with 2 ships, then that's its weakness. So it's not a I win button by a long shot right now.
I think, but basically, from my point of view, the end result is correct, as in the fact that you need to flank it and everything. But the way in which it's implemented isn't great. Like I don't like the idea of just this permanent shield in front that just absorbs all damage and that's it. I prefer if maybe the frigate player was a very skilled player who was able to block those shots by timing them all correctly or something. Something like that.
Well, one of the guys on the forum, I forget who it was to give appropriate credit, was suggesting that maybe we give it an energy system along the lines of the Assassin's Cloak. So you can basically, it just comes up while you hold right click and it goes down when you release.
That could be
and
interesting.
it recharges over time. So you'd have a certain amount of time that you'd be able to keep it up, and you could just drop it and bring it up for specific attacks, which would make it really, really, really reactive. It sounds like it could be potentially obscenely overpowered in the right hands, though. It seems like the kind of thing that a skilled player would just block absolutely everything ever.
What if you tie that in with a scalpel beam, though? So it's taking energy away from the effectiveness of your primary attack.
Yeah, I mean,
there are other ways you can balance it as well. Like so stuff like that. If they're very, very reliant on very, very good timing, so if you blocked everything, you've done very, very well, then it can sort of be okay. You literally, as an attacker, be like, okay, yeah, he deserved that. He did very well, and that's the sort of thing that I'd like to see more of in our game. Like, for example, if it had like a delay on the warm up, for example, you have to predict they're going to fire if they're very close before you can do it. So from a long distance, you can block the projectiles easily. Up close, it gets a bit harder. And
just thinking out loud, it just occurred to me, like once we get this new energy system in place, potentially maybe we could even tie it in with the energy system, that you could have this shield up indefinitely if it's not getting hit by anything, but for the damage it absorbs, it drains your energy.
Oh, I see, yeah.
So then you could potentially shield X amount of damage with it, but it's going to drain all your energy that you're using for your other weapons and all that kind of stuff.
Loads of
maybe
ways
having it up stops your energy doing its natural regen. So,
yeah.
Just thinking out loud.
Yeah, that's the way to be, right? Open development. There you go.
Yep.
That was a quick brainstorm there. But just a bit conscious of time here, guys. But I think we're probably getting towards the end. But what are we? Let's talk about what's coming up next. What are we working on, each of us, at the moment that we can talk about? Well, we don't have any secrets here.
I can start some stuff to that. So at the moment, or lately in general, I've been working on the new small ships systems, which is the launching of fighters and bombers and stuff at other ships. So that's all going quite interestingly. We still need to playtest a lot of it. It's still sort of early days.
I've got my concerns about how you go about targeting them.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But I think it's going to add a lot of extra depth to the game, because you're actually going to be able to do something against all these fighters and drones and stuff in the world. The idea is that all ships will have closed-in weapon systems that you can activate. That it's basically like lots of little turrets and stuff.
Also, like point defences.
Exactly,
Cool.
yeah. So we'll actually shoot down other people's fighters and drones,
Okay.
and that goes across all the ships, not just So it's not just certain drones; it's anything in the world, and also missiles as well.
Excellent.
So missiles will suddenly have a bit more interesting play in the game too.
Yeah, there's not too much you can do with them at the moment, is
Yeah,
there?
exactly. So at the moment, we've intentionally made missiles relatively weak in the game right now because there are no counters for them, basically. So we haven't been able to really put a lot of focus on them. They're just a little bit extra damage every now and then, basically. But now, if it's actually something you can do against missiles actively, then they can play a far more prominent role in the game, basically. And also that will tie into flak and stuff too, because flak's going to have an effect on missiles and fighters as well.
You're giving the fighters a pretty cool kind of order system as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So the idea is that you can launch fighters either to defend an ally, and they'll fly in formation with the ally and attack any little fighters and stuff that come near them, or you can redirect them to an enemy as well, or just tell them just to defend you if you want. Yeah, so it's quite some interesting extra depth there.
Keeping it like a fairly simple input sort of
yes.
but still quite a bit of nuance. To
Yeah,
what you can do with it.
the idea is it's going to be very context sensitive. So you're still using the same ability keys, but depending on what you've got targeted, will basically dictate how they react, essentially.
Look forward to see how they come along. Sounds really interesting.
Yeah, it should be cool. Fingers crossed we can actually
Nice one.
balance all this.
How about you, Will? What you on at the moment?
Well, I seem to have been working on this for a very, very long time. I'm working on the just the new stations in general. I haven't started on the gas facility yet. That's still kind of this big robot IO thing in my head.
But yeah, we've got new versions of the forward stations and the home bases in the prototype map that I'm working on, and each of them has got kind of big base defences, armour panels that you shoot off to expose their cores, and then their cores which you destroy to open up the jump routes and win the game. We've also been working on kind of like some little satellite bits to sort of populate the lanes with as well. So we've got these kind of, they're just called little beacons at the moment, but you're basically just a little satellite, and if you approach it within its vision, it'll spot you for the team. So one of the things I've been thinking about a lot recently is just vision in our game, minimap vision, knowing where the enemies are and all that kind of stuff. So these satellite beacons, there are going to be some placed around the lanes and your home bases, which your enemies can take out to sort of disappear from your radar. But yeah, these are kind of like a first step towards, I guess, a kind of a League of Legends / Dota style ward. We've been talking about adding that kind of ability to a ship. It was the one that was penciled in for the Equalizer. The Equalizer's current detects drone. I think it's a drone that is deployed at the moment. That was eventually going to become effectively a deployable ward that you can dash to the other end of the lane, dump this thing to get some early information about where the enemies are without having to have a player over there spotting them.
But most importantly, you can actually destroy it as well. So
yeah, so
it
it would kind of hang around until it was destroyed or until another one was placed, rather than just having a set duration. Yeah, we've got some little free floating turrets as well to place around. Yeah, so
Things are going to be getting busy.
Yeah, there's just the next step is working out how we're exactly going to adjust the balance of all of the ships as they level up, and how that's going to affect, because we want to hit these kind of benchmarks throughout the course of a game where once you reach about level 4 or 5 you can start threatening the enemy forward station, and once you reach kind of like 7 or 8 you can start threatening the home base. So working out exactly how we're going to adjust the balance of everything to make that vision work is the next challenge, I think.
I can't wait to see it. Alex, what are you?
So I'm making a legendary hunter,
Right.
which is a very early prototype. So it's the first one they ever made.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's kind of like slightly unfinished, a little bit kind of Death Star 2.
Oh,
It's
cool.
kind of in production. Bare metal. It's got like an older Zarek logo. So from back in the day. So I've been working on that. We've got Zarek boarding craft being concepted at the moment, TDS boarding craft, then all the fighters for this carrier stuff that's coming in the next month.
The carrier's getting talked about a lot lately.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Sean's working on a medium-sized TDS ship that's going to be kind of hunter-assassin class, that kind of thing. I've got to finish off the Zarek infiltrator. Got a little bit of work to do on the Zarek railgun. So these are other ships that haven't been talked about yet.
Yeah.
Then the carrier also needs some work, because at the moment it is just a block out. Although that's the first ship I made, and it's probably going to be the last ship that goes into the game.
Yeah, ironic.
And yeah, I think that's it. There's Hans has been working on the destroyer as well.
Yeah.
It's kind of like another flagship style ship, but it's like a shit kicker.
Nice.
Big guns. It's like a proper warship, and the guns
Set
are
up to do
almost
big broadsides, isn't it?
pretty much wider than the ship is.
Nice.
So Al's been setting that up this week.
I've got a lot of time for that.
I think there's a lot of stuff incoming actually this month.
I'm going to try and get Hans to do another live stream at some point of some of this stuff. I definitely want to try and get you guys in for like an art special episode one week. Try to get you and Hans, maybe Tim in as well. Just talk about.
Hans can go and make some coffee.
Exactly. It'll be a well caffeinated podcast.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, it sounds like we've covered plenty of ground here today, guys. So thanks for giving me your time.
Good anytime.
Cool.
And yeah, thanks for listening in, guys. And we'll see you out there.